Welcome to this demonstration of Gale Technologies' GaleForce automation and how this dynamic framework manages the secure multi-tenancy architecture developed by NetApp, Cisco, and VMware. The traditional approach to guaranteeing application isolation requires dedicated isolated hardware. A cloud infrastructure demands strict isolation between different clients, business units, departments, security zones, and layers in three-tiered web architectures, as well as the ability to separate production operations from QA, development, and so on. Secure multi-tenancy enables you to partition a shared infrastructure in whatever way makes sense for your business. Data and data access are securely isolated, and workload performance is maintained. Gale Technologies' GaleForce is an integrated end-to-end solution that spans the product and solution orchestration lifecycle. With just one comprehensive and extensible platform, you can effortlessly design, locate, schedule, connect, provision, and access all of virtual or physical resources, servers, virtualization layers, networking, storage, and applications within the secure multi-tenant architecture. This is GaleForce Control Center, where administrators can design standardized topologies for deploying services to their customers. Here is an example topology of a tiered web application that includes database application storage, a database server, web servers, the networks that connect them, and secured user access configuration into this environment. These topologies are published into service catalogs or libraries where administrators can select a desired design and schedule its deployment into a tenant environment. Topologies can be privately presented to specific tenants' libraries or publicly shared on behalf of all tenants. Let's start with a clean canvas and walk through how an administrator can use GaleForce Control Center to design this topology. GaleForce Control Center provides a rich graphical design interface to build topologies and configurations. Topology components such as storage resources, servers, network connections, and so on are selected from a palette of device types and arranged on our canvas. Let's quickly lay out the components of our tiered web application, then we'll dive into their configuration. We'll start with the database application storage for our tiered web application. In this topology design, a NetApp vFiler will be used to allocate storage with a gold service tier. Storage service tiers can be designed to convey particular configuration properties, such as performance characteristics, storage efficiency, data protection, or replication and availability features. We'll specify the size of our storage. Next, we'll configure the properties for our compute resources. We could also select from a GaleForce repository of baseline VM images to clone for this deployment and apply service levels to convey properties such as resource reservations, shares, limits, or to allow expandable reservations. Next, we'll configure our network configurations, assigning VLANs to topology network segments from a pool provided by our cloud administrator. We could also apply service levels here that align to various QoS configurations. Finally, we'll assign network and firewall security profiles to our VMs from a GaleForce repository of selections made available to us by our Cloud Security Administrator. Now that we have completed configuring our topology, let's save it as a new offering in our GaleForce topology library. We'll give it a new name and identify access and change permissions for selected organizations and users. This topology design can now be published as a deployment option. GaleForce also enables administrators to use this design as a starting point for further customization if they would like to build and publish additional variations of this topology, for example, with a slightly different storage, network, or compute configuration. So now that our topology design is published, let's see how we can deploy a running instance of our topology through the GaleForce web portal. This web portal can be broadly customized to suit a secure multi-tenant provider's requirements, or developers can use the GaleForce SDK to build their own portal, or integrate into an existing service desk. Here we see our tiered web application topology template we just published to our library view. Since our topology was logically modeled, we could potentially deploy this design many times and produce multiple instances of our tiered web application. We start by scheduling a reservation for deployment. Specify a duration, give this new instance a meaningful name for our service delivery, and complete our request. We can see our reservation confirmed, setting up, and now running. The GaleForce web portal can also present our administrators or users with various methods of access to our running service components as desired. So let's go back into the GaleForce Control Center and drill into the reservation instance we just deployed and inspect how the topology design was provisioned into the secure multi-tenant architecture. Let's start by looking at the database storage resources we designed, and we can see how this vFiler and gold level storage were provisioned via the best practice workflow automation delivered by NetApp's Storage Services API. NetApp's Virtual Storage Console API for VMware provides streamlined automation for the best practice provisioning of the virtual compute resources for our topology. We can see how the network services were delivered through integration to Cisco's Data Center Network Manager and Nexus APIs. And finally, our user access and network security configuration is delivered via integrations to VMware, vShield, and Cisco's Service Module APIs. Another interesting feature of the GaleForce framework is its ability to save the state of a running topology, including all the components within that topology, so it can be restored to that state at a later point in time. This point-in-time snapshot can also be used to clone the topology from that configuration state, as well as a basis for building variations from the topology at that point in time. The GaleForce Control Center allows administrators with sufficient privilege to see the running reservations across multiple tenants in various detail and timeline views. Thank you for joining this demonstration of how Gale Technologies' GaleForce framework delivers comprehensive automation and management for the NetApp, Cisco, and VMware secure multi-tenancy architecture. For more information about this revolutionary architecture and how it can transform your data center and service delivery, please see your NetApp, Cisco, or VMware account representative, who can also help you learn more about how Gale Technologies partners to deliver this innovative management solution.